Fellow Kenyans, I've come to address you today out of urgency. There is a crisis in Kenya. There is a state of emergency in Kenya. There is a state of political emergency in Kenya. It is not a judiciary emergency. It is not a military emergency. It is not a parliamentary emergency, but just political. What is this emergency? The president is fighting for his survival because his enemies have decided that they're going to fight back. They're going to fight him for what he did in his executive capacity. That is what is happening in Kenya. The president, unfortunately, has decided to campaign. The president has been challenged by his enemies that you cannot come to this area. And because the president is a very, very strong-willed person, he said, I'm coming to that area whether you like it or not. It is that kind of politics that we have in Kenya. So today, I want to address you, ladies and gentlemen, before this crisis goes too far. Let's get to the point. The former vice president, the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, has opened up today. He has decided to open the can of worms, so to speak. And it comes hot on the heels after Muturi, the former CS, the former Attorney General, also has opened up his can of worms. And all these can of worms are being opened because the president is on top of cars saying he let this one go. He let the former Attorney General, Justin Muturi, he let him go because he was incompetent. He should reshuffle him because he was incompetent. And also, it is commonly known that Justin Muturi went public by stating that his son had been abducted. And in the process of wanting his son released, he figured out that it was the state machinery, the state operatives that had kidnapped his son. And so he went to the president. He tried everywhere to get his son released, but it didn't work. So he went to the president, and upon talking to the president made a phone call to the chief of security, whatever you call him. And that's when Justin Muturi's son was released. And having had his son released, he comes and gives a statement, kind of criticizing the government and saying that he wanted the government to address the issues of abduction, that he was not going to resign. Finally, he was fired. He wasn't really told, you're fired. Basically, the president just reshuffled his cabinet, and Justin Muturi did not get any position, and that signifies that he was fired. On the other hand, we have Rigathi Gachagua, who is the former deputy president. While he was deputy president, he did certain things. It was a conglomerate of things that resulted in him being impeached. Some say it is the president who initiated it. Some say it was the president's blessing. You know how it is done. But the guy was impeached. What you need to remember is that the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was impeached by politicians from all over Kenya, including those from the mountain. They impeached the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua, when he was told he was going to be impeached, he was given an option to resign. I think he was. And he did interviews and he said he wasn't going to resign. While that was going on, he did not say these things he's saying now. When he was being impeached and he put up a fight all the way to the court, he never stated what he's stating now. In his chief defense, he simply said they disagreed, that he was giving the president different opinion, but it was viewed that he was being subversive. Remember also when the deputy president was deputy president, there was an uprising. It was a Gen Z uprising. It was spontaneous. It came from nowhere, although we know it came from somewhere because the Gen Zs don't have jobs. People are suffering in Kenya. They don't have food. So they rebelled. They revolted. And during that revolt, one of the allegations why Rigathi Gachagua was impeached was that he commandeered that revolt and he wanted to kind of get the president overthrown. That was one of the allegations. Whether it was proved or not, I don't know. But then he was impeached and evicted. You know, there's one thing called impeachment, which means that the parliament just votes that you stand impeached. But then it goes to the Senate, and then there is a trial in the Senate. And if the Senate finds you guilty, you stand impeached and evicted. So Rigathi Gachagua went through that. Now, having established that, let's get to today. Or rather, before we get to today, a few days ago, here comes Justin Muturi stating what he stated about the president. He said the president is the most corrupt person or the most corrupt president we have ever had. He said that the president is irredeemably corrupt. Yet, Justin Muturi did not resign from that government. Justin Muturi did not tell us, while he's still inside that government, that the president is irredeemably corrupt. So that just messes up Justin Muturi's allegation. It waters it down. It could have been so nice if Justin Muturi went to the press and called the press and stated everything, not just the abduction, about the president being corrupt. Because that would have been, it wasn't about his son. You know, when it is your son, it can be construed that it is just you. But Kenya is not just about you, Mr. Justin Muturi. It was about the livelihoods of millions of Kenyans. So if the president was irredeemably corrupt, but you're working for him, that waters down your case. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying the president is innocent, but it just waters down your case. But let's not forget, the president has his defense, his own side of the story. Now, we get to today. Rigathi Gachagua goes to the press and delivers. I don't have to repeat all those allegations, but he has stated several. The first one is that the president is corrupt. The president brought something in Kenya regarding the planting of 3 billion trees, and that Kenya was supposed to be funded with $1 billion, I believe. And they wanted Justin Muturi to sign it. Apparently, Justin Muturi and Rigathi Gachagua have now united in their allegations. But remember, like I said, even Rigathi Gachagua is now out. When Rigathi Gachagua was being tried, Rigathi Gachagua did not tell us in court that he was being impeached because he refused to sign the corrupt deal. He didn't say it. Yet he was fighting for his survival so that he is not impeached. He did not want to be impeached. He did not want to be let go. That's what you don't want to happen. What do? You need to put up your best defense. Why did he save his best defense? for now. We'll get to that. Rigathi Gachagua also says that the president decided to invite a vice president from Sudan, somebody who is leading a militia in Sudan, that he invited, the President Ruto used him to invite that guy. And indeed, there are some certain facts which are undeniable, which are questionable about the president. Why that militia declared their independence for the areas they are controlling in the country of Kenya. Why did Ruto allow that? That is controversial. We will get to it. But the Rigathi Gachagua says Ruto forced him to do that. Actually, first he said it wasn't a force. Ruto tricked him. But the second time, he refused. And he said his signature was forged because the guy still came. Then Rigathi Gachagua goes ahead to say that Ruto said, you are a very stubborn man. You will see me. You will do this. These are allegations that Rigathi Gachagua is giving. The journalist asked him to substantiate. He did not have any of that to give us. I'm not saying he doesn't have it, but he did say he had some recordings and that can come out. Please understand, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't. Kenya is what I stand for. And the reason why there is this emergency is that because Kenya is about to be destroyed. Let me tell you how. Back in 2007, there was heat debate. There was both sides wanted to win. It was the day of Raila versus Kibaki. And we know what happened. I still maintain that Raila's election was stolen. But let's leave that for now. The tension that was in the press, the tension that was in the social media, the tension that was going on was significant. What did it lead to? It led to deaths. It led to the darkest moment Kenya has ever had. Yes, brother killed brother. And it was horrible. And that amount of chatter is currently happening online. That amount of chatter is being propagated by the news medias and now by the proliferation of bloggers and YouTubers like me who are now talking about it. And I'm a little bit older now. I bet you can say I'm now an elder at 60 years old. Therefore, I beg you to listen to me a little bit. What is going on in Kenya is not good, and it needs to stop forthwith. Rigathi Gachagua, tiga miyaki. Justin Muturi, tiga miyaki. President Ruto, stop your nonsense about campaigning now. Stop your nonsense about going to churches and giving a lot of money as contribution. Why do we need to know? You need to be like the bank robbers who used to rob the bank, but they don't count the money in front of people. You rob the bank, go hide, because tomorrow the newspaper will say how much was stolen. So give your donation privately. Let the church know how much was given based on what they're going to build. Let us see how beautiful that church was. And the pastor will say, you know, we built this church because of the help of this guy. But we don't need to know how much money you gave. Whether I gave 1 shilling or you gave 50 million, we are the same. So there is no reason for you to come up there and show that you gave a lot of money. Moreover, let's get this right, Mr. Ruto. Where did you get the money that you're giving? We know for a fact that your salary is way less than that amount. 20 million shillings is more than your 1 year salary. And how can you give your 1 year salary in one church here and next weekend you give another 1 year salary plus in another church? How can you do that? It's not possible. So that gives credence to people who are saying you're corrupt. People who are corrupt carry money like it's worth nothing to them. And they give it left, right, or center. They stop on the middle of the road and they say, I'm going to give 100 million for this, this, and that, without it being budgeted. That is corruption, Mr. President, and you continue to do it. Remember, I was supporting the fact that Raila Odinga needs to stabilize your government. And I said, if you're going to continue to go give this money and continue campaigning, I would advise Raila Odinga to think twice about that. So stop that nonsense. Stay in Harambee House and become the president that you are. You have 2.5 years to straighten things out and then give the people your case and tell them, elect me again if I did a good job. And you won't even have to beg, because if you did a good job, you will be elected. If not, you're out. It's that simple. So let's get back to today. Rigathi Gachagua is saying words that have put Kenya on the brinks of collapse. They are heavy words, Mr. President. They are heavy words. And he has unleashed them at this time. Why? Because the other day, Mr. President, you went to the mountain and you talked about 10 billion shillings being offered to Rigathi Gachagua. That he asked for 10 billion shillings. Yes, I give it to you. This was one of the allegations when you were impeaching the deputy president. But you know what? At that time, Rigathi Gachagua did not say he was offered 2 million and he rejected it. You say he demanded 10 billion, and you rejected it. And now he's saying you gave him 2 billion and he rejected it. Both of you are full of shit. That's the truth. Because these 10 billions of dollars or shillings you're talking about it to us, and we have nothing. Yes, people have nothing. And you're throwing billions, like you are the children of God, and we are the children of lesser God. Both of you are irredeemably corrupt. Both sides are irredeemably corrupt. So you have thrown mud at each other. And each side now is going to try to support either side. Each side is going to try to support either side. Let me advise you, people. Mr. Ruto, you must cease and desist to continue to throw words back at the deputy president, the former deputy president. This is what you must do. You need to get your lawyers and you need to go to sue Rigathi Gachagua. Drag him to court and have him substantiate those claims, without which you will win for defamation if he cannot substantiate them. On the other hand, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, instead of continuing to lament about Ruto being corrupt and did this, did that, take him to court, not as impeachment. Take him to court for being corrupt. Rally your people of your mountain if you can and bring a motion of impeachment against the president. Do not worry about how many people are going to support you. Doing the right thing does not require you to think that it is popular. Doing the right thing is integrity. What is integrity, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua? Listen very carefully. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody is looking. Integrity is doing the right thing when even everybody else is saying that you are wrong. Stand on your word. Back up your word. Go to court. You say you have evidence of the recordings of the other president. You've alleged even Mr. Ruto being involved with M23 in Congo. Those are huge allegations. Yes, we as Kenyans are interested to know, but hurling words at each other on the internet through the news services that are there, or going to church to preach, or to speak politics where people are preaching. That's not cool. That's not cool, Kenyans. You keep on using America as an example. Let me tell you, here in America, if somebody had accused another person of being corrupt, they would take it to court. Yes, you love America. You keep on bringing Donald Trump, who, in my opinion, is irredeemably corrupt. So don't be comparing things with America, yet you go back there and you start doing things the Kenyan way. If you love America with America's democracy, go ahead and do it the American way. Go to court and do that. Now, my advice for you, Ruto. Rigathi Gachagua is a citizen now. He has freedom of expression. You don't have to continue to holler back with him. Do your job. But if he has done something that is really, really irritating you, take him to court. There is something you could win. Some people try to overthrow the government through violent means, and they are taken to court and they are tried. If they are civilian, it's a civilian court. If they're in the military, it's a court-martial. If Rigathi Gachagua is trying to destabilize your presidency that you are legitimately elected, as you claimed, because remember, me, I believe you didn't win that election. Rigathi Gachagua told us you won. I kept saying, very soon, the next thing is Rigathi Gachagua is going to be telling us how you stole that election. And when that time arrives, I'm not waiting with popcorn. It's a bad thing. So Rigathi, instead of waiting for the time that Rigathi will give us all the goods, how you stole this election, we don't want to hear that now. Take him to court. Sue him. Sue him for defamation. Sue him for treason. Because you are sitting in a democratically elected government. He is trying to destabilize you with lies. Prove that those are lies. Prove that he just wants to take power. Because, let's face it, why didn't Rigathi Gachagua resign when he saw all these shenanigans going on? They're not shenanigans. These are not shenanigans. These are heavy allegations. Why didn't Rigathi Gachagua resign? Why didn't Justin Muturi resign when his son was abducted? Abduction of your son is not a child's play. No matter who I am with, whether it is even my wife who I've been married to for 35 years and we share children together, if she arranged something and got one of our children abducted, I'm not going to address it casually. It's not something to address casually. I cannot say, you abducted my son, our son is abducted, you planned it with other people, and I'm still staying in that marriage? That is unthinkable. You should have resigned. So why did you stay? You stayed because you hoped that Ruto will be brought down and you will ascend to power. That's what you did. But you know what? That wasn't right. Because you stayed, but you did not do right. You did not tell us what you are telling us now. If you told us that then, maybe we could have believed you. So, Kenyans, where are we? Things are dire. Things are falling apart. Why? Because the center cannot hold. Yes, people have said this and that. Some people have said, oh, if the alligator leaves the water and it tells you that the crocodile is sick, believe it. Right? But then there are other sayings on this side. A lot of sayings. Why is Rigathi Gachagua bringing these allegations now? Let me tell you why. And I'll end by this. in the Bible is told of a story of a lady who went and stole a child belonging to another woman. And the mother of the woman found out that this lady has stolen the child. And then there was a case. They presented it before King Solomon. The mother of the child gave a case, and the lady who stole the child gave the case. And do you know what Solomon did? Solomon said, here, bring that child and bring a knife. Because you both want this child, let this child be killed so none of you can have them. And the lady who stole the child said, go ahead. She shouldn't have that child. Kill the child. But the lady who was the genuine mother said, please, please, don't kill the child. Give it to her. I don't have to have that child, but I want the child alive. So that proved that this mother was the real mother. Regarding Gachagua, you were impeached. You didn't want to resign. You were impeached. You were evicted. You are a free person, a Kenyan citizen, still living in Kenya, still stinking rich. None of your wealth was stolen, was taken away from you forcefully. You can still brag of having billions of shillings, considering you are able to turn down 2 billion shillings. You are stinking rich. Don't say you don't want this child, because you have now decided to use the nuclear weapons against the president. And these nuclear weapons is you don't care what it does to the country, as long as this man who impeached you and evicted you is still president. You don't care what happens. Let me tell you, Kenya is a beautiful country. Kenya has a lot of wealth. Kenya has a lot of natural resources. Kenya has beautiful people. Kenya has beautiful runners, beautiful landscape, animals, everything. You need to live outside Kenya, like I have, for 30 years for you to know how Kenya is valuable. And these things you're doing is going to destroy the country. Ruto has just 2.5 years before election. You can wait. But if you cannot wait, take a motion of impeachment to parliament. Through your people, you have some parliamentarians. You have people who can support it. Alternatively, do what you said. Rally all the people who regretted having impeached Ruto. Tell them to resign. Go on and now create a real mini election and get these people elected under your party and show Ruto that you're worth a political clout. Tell Ruto that you're worth more than your big mouth. Yes, we don't want that. We don't want to see you all hollering insults at each other and allegations that none of you is willing to go to court to substantiate. Ladies and gentlemen, aren't you sick of these people? I am. I want Kenya to be the country of rugby sevens, of the great safari rally, of the great runners. Kenya, the land of plaster and stone. That is the country we want. We don't want to see where you are taking us. Yes, you have caused international worry. We are in the diaspora. And if you guys are not going to go to that agenda 4 that Kofi Annan talked about, of finding real peace and reconciliation, of telling us the evils that happened as you struggle to get into power, there is still a lot of unknown. By the way, I did a video here a long time, not a long time ago, but about a year ago when General Ogola died. That video, I titled it, Uhuru Ruto, your feud costed the life of General Ogola. I mean it. Ruto and Uhuru went at each other, and the result are the casualties, like General Ogola. Now Ruto, who swore that he'll never do nothing to his deputy, is now having a cutthroat argument with his former deputy. Who are going to be the casualties? Can we know as you're fighting them? Can we know? Can you tell us the truth? Let the truths come out. Not just about your personal gain or trying to paint the other person as corrupt. Let the public know who killed who. Who killed General Ogola? Who killed Msando? Who killed these people? Since you really, really want power, come rain, come sunshine. You can tell us that then. But do us a favor. Suck it in. We don't want to hear it anymore. Thank you.